if we are indeed all Tamils tonight and in the future, we need to focus on genocide. And I agree with Mark Adler. Canada is a great country. It is a special country. And as other members of Parliament have said, you have welcomed here all of us, including the Irish. My own nephew lives in Hamilton and married a very nice Canadian girl some years ago. But I feel Canada needs to do more. We need to move beyond human rights. We need to look at genocide. Now, I'm proud to be associated with the Tamil diaspora. It's an extraordinary mix of talent, expertise, experience, and qualifications, plus fierce political power, power that is, and financial resources. And having heard what we heard tonight, I would urge the diaspora here in Toronto and elsewhere in this great country to work even harder and to work with those politicians that apparently you put into office, because they will listen to you if you tell them what needs to be done. And the commitment to stop the ongoing genocide in Tamil Eelam, to end the occupation, to restore human well-being in the traditional homeland, that's what we want to do. Firstly, I'd like to walk you through the People's Permanent Tribunal report, of which I was the co-chair in Bremen. Secondly, give you some thoughts on follow-up. And thirdly, share some ideas, perhaps, on how the diaspora can move forward here and around the globe. First, let me mention I was amused to be described by the Sunday Island as, quote, an ex-UN bigwig employed by the LTTE rump in Canada. Well, as my fellow Irishman Oscar Wilde once said, bad, in this case untrue publicity, is better than no publicity at all. So thank you, Sunday Island. However, now is the time, urgent time, for non-violent action. Non-violent action to end the occupation of Tamil Eelam before it's too late. Let me mention the report. The PPT is an NGO that was founded back in the days by Bertrand Russell to look at the war in Vietnam and take on the war crimes that were committed there, undoubtedly by the United States. And it's continued its work looking at 30 or 40 different cases. And now we've had 2 sessions of the tribunal looking at the plight of the Tamils, particularly the Tamils of Tamil Eelam. And it exists because the system, the establishment, the United Nations, has failed. This system has failed, as you were reminded tonight, in fact, the children of Iraq. But now I'm talking about the children and the people of Tamil Eelam. And we have failed those people. We've failed to deal with the crimes against humanity, the war crimes, and the human rights violations going back 50, perhaps 100 years. The Security Council, the Human Rights Council, the International Criminal Court, controlled by the 5 veto powers, are guilty of wars of aggression, guilty of war crimes, and even genocide. They themselves manufacture and sell some 85% of all weapons in the world today. And we entrust to them peace and security. There's something seriously wrong there. We need countries like Canada that have the guts and the courage to stand up and be different.